Hello, vinyl nerds of the internet. Today we're doing 10 obscure records in my collection that I don't think other people in the vinyl community have. I'm going to do 10, 5, 7 inches, 5, 12 inches. Let's do it.
Six in the morning.
Okay, so this challenge came from TKR channel. I will link in the description. And a lot of people, I think, are cheating, right? Like, I don't know. I'm going to say that, like, hey, this is cheating. This is a record my kids recorded at Third Man at the record booth. Does that count? It's a one of one. I don't think that counts. What else I don't think counts are like test pressings and that sort of stuff. Like I could have just filled this with obscure records from my friends' bands. I'm not doing that. We'll start with this thing. Now looking at this, you'd have no idea what it is. But I can tell you what this is. This is a Big Black record. Big Black being a sort of noisy, semi-industrial punk band formed by Steve Albini, who went on to a band name I shouldn't mention on YouTube, and then Shellac. He's also produced a lot of things. He's pretty well known for that. This features a cover, Big Black doing the song In My House by, was it the Mary Jane Girls? I think it was that Rick James girl group. You could only have purchased this if you got, the way I got this was when the Pig Pile video came out of them playing, I believe, in Germany. This was inside the VHS clamshell when it came out. I don't know how many of those actually included this record. That was the only copy of that video that I've ever seen with this in there. I believe you could have also got it with the Big Black Pig Pile box set that came out. I don't know. Again, I don't know what the limited quantities of this is. I don't know. I don't ever see this record out there. According to Discogs, there are 48 other ones in collections. Is one of those in the vinyl community collection? I don't know. I doubt it. All right, here's another one we'll go with. What in Tarnation? This guy right here used to be the singer for a band called All being the band that formed in the ashes of the Descendants. He was the second singer after Dave Smalley. This is him and some other guys who I'm less familiar with doing covers. I don't know I don't know what song that is. Dream Police, I know that's a Cheap Trick song. This is a lathe cut record that sounds pretty crappy. It's unlistenable, but it's cool. And they only made 50 something of these.
2,000 years later.
They made 52 of these, and 4 other people on Discogs have this. I really doubt anyone from the vinyl community has this. All right, someone might have, in the vinyl community, might have this record, but there's a lot of different versions of it, so I don't know if we have this version. This is a band called The Mad, and as you can see, it has like this vellum sleeve. This was put out by Bacteria Sour. Bacteria Sour being the record label that Pusshead, the artist, started post Pussmort, and they did really awesome packaging. So if you look at this, it has this insert with the lyrics. So this is something that's confusing about this, is that here on the record, you can see that Pusshead wrote 18 of fin. I'm guessing that implies that it's as many as he had left of whatever crazy ass color this would be. But then on this insert it says 150. So I don't know. I don't know how that happened. I think I got this directly from Pusshead himself back in the day. I'm actually going to do a video on these Bacteria Sour records that I still have. I don't have that many anymore. And the reason is going to be outlined in the video because Pusshead made me very angry. And he made some other people angry too. But if that sounds interesting, subscribe and you can watch that video. I'll probably film that after this and it will be posted maybe a day after this one. All right. Does anyone have this? This is the second Massacre Guys 7-inch. Going back to the Descendants, this features Carl Alvarez, the last bass player from the Descendants, who was on Descendants All, and Stefan Egerton, who is the guitar player from the last Descendants album called All. And then they are the bass player and guitar player from the band All. This was their band before that. On Unclean Records, 1985. Someone probably has this. I'm going to guess that, Vinyl Richie probably has this, maybe. Or Derek might have this. You can see here, that is signed by Stefan. Looks like he actually signed it Stevie. So Stefan Egerton used to go by Stevie O'Reilly. You can see here, guitar by Steve-O. So that's weird. And then, so this Carl put on there. It doesn't look like his autograph. I don't know what it says. It says elementary school and then something. So I showed this to them at I think an All show in the 90s, maybe? And he was super excited to see it and signed it and then made Stefan sign it too. I also have their first 7-inch, but this one is cooler because I had them sign this one. All right. I don't know how many people have this thing. This is a Faction 2 cents worth split 7-inch that's on red vinyl. I don't know how many they pressed this, but it's incredibly DIY. It's on red vinyl, like I said. Faction was I think they're still playing. Steve Caballero, member of the Bones Brigade, professional skateboarder. This was his band back in the 80s. And then someone, I believe the guitar player, that wasn't Steve, maybe? That might be wrong. Did some record labels, and this is, I think, something that he put out. I don't know how many there are, but there's not a lot of people who own this thing. It's something you would have had to buy directly from him, and I think maybe pressed like 300, maybe less. Okay, so now we're on to the 12 inches. This is an album from a rap group called the Freestyle Fellowship. This is the second pressing of this from like the early 90s. I don't know that this is rare. I just don't think that people in the vinyl community are into their underground hip-hop. So that's why I picked this guy. This group would go on to inspire Jurassic 5 and, some of that underground hip-hop from the West Coast that was kind of popular in the 2000s. All right, let's go with this. Batter Brains. This is obviously a play on the Bad Brains. Batter referring to Bader Meinhof, the communist revolutionary who was killed, and they kept his brain or something like that. There's some weird story like that. So this has like an Obi strip on it. I'm not going to mess with it too much, but that's cool. This was a Mike Kirsch band, who he was in a bunch of bands. The one before this was called Please Inform the Captain This Is a Hijack, which this is sort of a natural extension of. It sort of sounds like that a bit. It's not as good as that band. This is pretty cool. They even printed on the inside of the sleeve, and it comes with an Unconventional Warfare Survival Handbook. And then this version is limited to 300, and it's on this crazy black and yellow vinyl. Does anyone have this? I don't know. I don't know. Solution Unknown on Self-Destruct Records. It's the most boring album cover ever. As well, the back isn't much more exciting. This was a band from Louisville, Kentucky. They put out, I think, maybe a 7-inch, and then this, and then I think Slam Deck released like a discography CD or something. This is like a hardcore band from the mid to late 80s. I don't know. I know that this is the second one of this I had. I found one randomly at a record store in Erie, PA once. So I found this in the wild. But I don't think anyone on the VC has it. Let me know if you do. All right, here's another one that someone might have, but this one has a special place in my heart. The Enemies, Products of the Street. So the backstory on this is that I used to own a record store, and someone brought in a big collection of like classic rock to sell. And I bought it, and this was in there. And I'm like, what is this? This looks pretty weird. And then I was looking at it, and I'm like, oh, this looks like a semi-local band. It turned out to be a local band called The Enemies. They were a punk band that I wasn't really aware of. Buffalo punk bands that predated like the Goo Goo Dolls and Green Jello when I bought this. So this sent me down a path of finding all the KBD sort of Buffalo punk bands that I could find, which I found a bunch. I think I'm going to do a video on that. If that sounds interesting, subscribe. This record is potentially most known for the song Disconnected, which the Goo Goo Dolls covered on, I think, A Boy Named Goo as like a bonus song. I think it was on that one. And so if you ever wondered what that song was, it's from this. I mean, this I've found this around in Buffalo, not a lot, but enough, like a couple of times over the years. So someone might have this, but I doubt anyone outside of this area has this record. All right, final submission. State of Confusion. This was a band from Boise that was a hardcore punk band. It says, play hard, skate loud. This featured Scott Smalljohn, who would go on to be in the Tree People, and then people from the Tree People would go on to form Built to Spill. This has like a silk screened cover. It's kind of cool. This seems pretty rare. I don't know who might have this, but it's pretty cool. There you go. Those are my submissions. Let me know which ones you have, if any. That'd be cool.